Okay, so we're going to begin, and we are recording this meeting. And so this is our second MMI mentoring cohort meeting, and really excited about the speakers that are going to be addressing us. And I think as you communicate, you guys will be able to inform us to help us to understand. Um, and especially, I'm thinking of Debbie Sanders. Many of us are faculty, and so I think that that will help us to understand, the student services process as it pertains to us, and us being able to help and mentor students. We also have Natasha. She likes being called Tasha from time. I found that out this morning. Um, in fact, Rod was teasing me because I messed up her last name as I mentioned her later, but it's Pierre, I believe. So she's going to be talking to us here in a little bit. She's connected with mental wellness and an organization called NAMI, and she'll tell you a little bit more about that. We have Roger Cunningham, and I've really grown to appreciate him, and especially with the interaction that we have with Lifeline Health and Wellness Teleconference in the Tampa area. And he's a very multi-talented guy, author of books, connected with DEA, independent business, and he'll tell you a little bit more about that. I don't want to mess that up for him, but he's just his hands are in a lot of organizations, and he does it well. So I'm really excited about this. And so what we're going to do is we'll start with Debbie Sanders. I really appreciate her. She's on the Palm Bay there in the Bay, and we appreciate her being here. She's going to talk about student services and a broad aspect of that. So, and I see I have a student that just replied, so I'm going to attend to that. But Debbie, I'm handing it off to you.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and to the members of the committee for the Male Minority Initiative, Doctors Irvin Jackson, Roland Chambers, Daryl Davis, Professor Wayne Brown, Associate Professor Andrew Forbes, Instructors Sal Shimmy and Patrick Robinson. Under the guidance and leadership of Provost D. Sibley, I would like to personally extend a heartfelt thank you for your continuous efforts to improve the retention and completion rates for our male students of color. I have been tasked to speak about what you should know about advising and the honors program at EFSC. Advising is an integral part of our student services. When a student thinks of student services, initially they think of advising, admission, and financial aid. I like to refer to this group as the big three. However, student services encompasses many more departments and offices. To clarify the other student service departments, they consist of the Office of the Associate Provost, the bookstore, the cashier's office, the disability office known as the sale office, the library, the military veterans office, the registrar's office, student recruitment, TRIO services, testing and tutoring, the academic success and writing centers. Now, all students may not come in contact with these various other student service departments, which is based on their needs or current situations. However, every student will encounter the big three: admissions, advising, and financial aid. Each student's first encounter with student services usually starts with the admission department. The admissions department will process the student's application for acceptance, among other daily tasks. The financial aid office will process the student's application to secure funds to pay for their tuition. And advising is normally the last stop before a student embarks on the journey to complete classes for their prospective degree, diploma, or certificate program. A student advising appointment, an initial advising appointment can take up to 1 hour. The appointment can be done by phone, through email, Microsoft Teams, or by face to face by appointment only. Within this hour time frame, an advisor covers and explains a great deal of information. We orientate the students regarding admissions, placement tests, registration processes, policies, procedures, resources, and programs. We review their academic records, placement tests, and other standardized test results with students in order to develop course selections consistent with their career choices and degree requirements. We review degree audits and transcripts to verify the fulfillment of graduation requirement. We answer general inquiries concerning college programs and procedures. We provide academic advisement and assist students with selection and scheduling of appropriate courses and provide information regarding upper division transfer requirement as needed. We assist in planning and implementation of student development programs and special events such as registration, enrollment, orientation, college night, workshops, or other initiatives. We refer students to external community service agencies as appropriate. We serve as student services liaisons with select academic departments. We assist the implementation of systems designated to track and improve student progress. We maintain consistent and accurate student follow-up data. And advisors do other duties as assigned. Upon being accepted to the college, each student is assigned to a student advisor. This is done purposely so that each student can have consistent advising from one student advisor. Having an assigned advisor eliminates a student being told different things by different advisors and leads to more consistency and follow-up with the student. Secondly, it also sets the foundation for the relationship between the student and the advisor to develop. Advisors have a wealth of information to bestow upon their students, helping to obtain their education and strive to be the best that they can be will hopefully lead them to continue to obtain more education along the way. Education is knowledge, and knowledge is power. If our students use the fruits of this knowledge, they have endless opportunities that can be pursued. I strongly recommend that the student have student advisor relationships which will foster trust and understanding. Our motto in advising is to train and release. We want to do that, all that we can, to encourage and prepare our students to develop a sense of control over their educational planning. Now, at the same time, we want to make sure there's no hesitation to contact us if they have an issue or a concern. You do not want to see a student 4 weeks before they think they're ready to graduate, only to find out that they are missing a requirement because they have failed to talk to their advisors for the past 3 semesters. I recommend that every student have a checkpoint meeting at least once a semester with their assigned advisor to discuss their status. Your advisor should make sure that you understand the information being relayed to you. I will normally ask students the same question at the end of each appointment. Do you understand everything? Do you have any questions? The last thing I normally say is, you have my contact information if you think of anything else, and please feel free to contact me. To our students, I say, keep in touch with your assigned advisor so that we may help to service you accordingly. Our honors program. Our honors program at EFSC was established in the fall of 1999. We had no honors council from 2008 to 2011, but we had honor classes that were still being offered on all 4 campuses. The honors council was reestablished in the fall of 2011. The mission of the Eastern Florida State College Honors Program is to provide our honor students and affiliates with unique academic, professional, and personal growth experiences, while empowering them to realize their potential as participating citizens in their education, community, and beyond. I became the honor advisor for the Palm Bay campus in February of 2018. Each campus has an honors advisor. I track the honor students for Palm Bay who are dual enrolled, part-time, and full-time college students. I make sure that each honor student is aware of their progress on filling the requirements for either the honors diploma or the affiliate distinction. To qualify for the honors program, a student with no college experience or less than 12 hours of college credit must meet one of the following. Their high school GPA has to be 3.5 or above on an unweighted scale, and one of the following. They have to have college ready scores on the SAT or the ACT. They have to have college ready PERT scores in sentence skills, reading, and math, which equal 116. For students with 12 or more college credits, they must have a 3.5 cumulative GPA. For the requirements to graduate with an honors diploma, they need a 3.5 or higher cumulative GPA, 18 or more credit hours, 40 hours of community service through the Center of Service Learning, and demonstration of leadership through completion of the leadership class, which can be honors or non-honors. Requirements for an honors affiliate distinction are a 3.2 or higher GPA and a minimum of 9 credit honor hour courses. Benefits of the honors program include smaller class sizes, an environment promoting scholarly research as well as independent and critical thinking, recognition at graduation for honor diploma graduates and honor program affiliates. We have a convocation dinner reception for the honor diploma and honor affiliate graduates at the end of the spring semester. And it also leads to scholarship opportunities when they transition on. As the honor advisor, I am always looking to recruit more students in our program, which helps the students explore the maximum educational opportunities. As an advisor, you have to be a people person with the ability to listen. You cannot help a student if you are not hearing or understanding what he or she is saying. Advisors wear many hats. We are often mentors, success coaches, and counselors. You know when you have made an impact with your student, when they just want to come by and say hello or tell you how they are doing. It's a great feeling to know that you have made a difference in your student's life. And in closing, again, I would encourage every student that may be listening or that will hear this video broadcast to establish a relationship with your assigned advisor. We will be your allies as you matriculate during your stay here at EFSC. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You really did an awesome job. Thank you, Debbie. And, I didn't mention this. There are some questions in there. So at the end, after all the presentations are done, then I want you to look at the questions and answer that. We also, I know one of my students is in here, Bryce, and I asked Bryce to introduce himself. And so, Bryce, where are you? Are you able to talk? Or you have your mic on? Or your
I have my mic on.
okay? And well, so I guess I meant your camera is what I meant. But could you just tell everybody who you are just for a second? I know I'm putting you on the spot, but just want you to tell everybody who you are just for a second.
I'm Bryce Harris. I had Dr. J for speech my first semester, and I asked if he was doing any type of mentoring program, and he responded with this. So thank you guys for taking the time out of your days to do this for us students.
All right. So I appreciate that you actually took time to come in, and hopefully some others will come in. But we're going to make this available on the Canvas shell as well. But I'm not going to take too much more time. We're going to pass it on to Natasha Pierre. not Pierce, but Pierre, and she represents NAMI. And so, Natasha, why don't you tell them about NAMI, and then tell them about she's going to talk about wellness. So, uh, tell us what you want to tell us.
Thank you. I took some notes here. And Deborah, I mean, I can't stress how important everything that you shared was. And I'll come back to that because that's in some of my presentation. The title that I was given was How to Keep Your Focus in Times Like These. And, you know, it's so apropos because we have distractions. We have distractions being humans on Earth. We have distractions as being men, distractions as being women, students, parents, spouses, child, parent. I mean, we've got distractions. That's just the reality of it. And so now with all those distractions, how do we keep our focus on what we needed to be focused on, whether that's work, school, extracurricular activities, faith, etc. There's a lot vying for our attention. And when you throw in social media into the mix, when you throw in an election, when you throw in social, racial unrest, there's so many opportunities to lose focus and lose sight of what really matters. And that's what focus is. It's keeping your attention, maintaining your attention on what matters. This morning on the Lifeline call, I spoke about, the difference with being in and being into. Being in is you're there, you're just there for attendance. You raise your hand, you're like, yeah, I'm here, and you keep it moving. Being into, you're showing up early, you're asking for extra credit, you want to take your professor out to lunch, you're researching because you're really into what you're doing. And there's going to be times in our lives where we're going to be in things and into. Some of the things we are in, we have to be in just to get the grade because it's a requirement for our major. I really don't like math at all. And so when I was in college, I took remedial math. Like, what is lower than someone who's never taken math before? And it was like problem solving with creative math. Perfect. I'll take that because I'm not into math. Because it's required, but I'll keep it pushing. But you do what you need to do in what you're in so you can get to doing all the things you want to be into. And how do we eliminate distractions? For me, I am the executive director of NAMI Hillsborough. That's the National Alliance on Mental Illness for Hillsborough County, Florida. We've got 600 affiliates around the nation. And so they're everywhere. We've got city and county as well as state affiliates. And we are the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization. So when you think of free mental health education, support groups, advocacy, and public awareness, that's what we do. In Hillsborough County, I am fortunate to be the executive director. I've got a bunch of credentials and, degrees and all of that stuff, and that's cute. But for the purposes of this, one, I used to be a student, believe it or not. I used to be in college. Most importantly, I know how it feels to be distracted, to feel like you've got something on every stove burner, something's in the oven, the microwave is beeping, the blender is going, the phone is ringing, and all of it requires your immediate attention. I also know what it's like to experience mental health challenges because I live with what's considered a severe mental illness. My full diagnosis or the diagnosis was given bipolar disorder type 2, post-traumatic stress, generalized anxiety, and EDNOS, which is an eating disorder not otherwise specified. And people always say, well, Natasha, are those really, in operation? Yeah. I've started my life over and over and over enough to know that, yeah, they were very real in my life and to some degree still are. So I understand distraction. I also understand achievement in spite and despite distraction. I know that as long as one person on the planet has done it, it means that I can do it. And even if no one else has done it, well, maybe I'm the one that gets to blaze the trail. So how do you persevere? How do you keep going? How do you keep fighting? How do you stay the course? How do you keep your focus in times like these? The first thing is you're going to need some self-awareness. Self-awareness means before anyone can tell you about you, before anyone has to tell you about your attitude, your mood, you're fussy, you're short, combative, impatient, you're not turning in your assignments, you're snippy with your professors, before anyone can say that to you, you need to have the awareness of what's going on with you. I know that there are certain times of the week, the month, the year when that is not the time for me to sit in Panera Bread and work, because I'm short-tempered and I'm going to hear every chew, every crunch, every slurp. I need to be aware of it. I can't be in Panera saying, everyone be quiet. I need to work. That's not the way it works. So self-awareness means I'm not going to wait for Rod or Dr. Jackson to tell me, Natasha, you're a little bit impatient. You snapped at, X. I need to know what's going on with me first. And from that place of self-awareness, now comes some honesty. The honesty is, do I have all the tools I need to stay my course and to maintain my focus? Do I need a nap? Do I need to drop one course? Do I need to stay off of social media? Do I need to limit my extracurricular activities? Do I need to reach out to my professor, to my advisor, to my friends? Do I need to join a study group? Do I need to divert my attention to resources that can help me on my course? What is it that I need? It's from a place of honesty, because I can't help you where you're not honest. You can't get help where you're not honest. To a hospital and you've got a bullet wound, but you want them to focus on your sprained ankle. That's not the way it works. We can see that you're bleeding out. Can we address what's really important first? So in the context of school and staying the course, it's not that you don't have friends or whatever we may call light things. What's the main thing? What's the biggest obstacle and barrier to you staying the course, maintaining your focus, completing your coursework successfully? What is the barriers to you maintaining your mental health right now? What are those things? And I can't tell you that because you've known you all your life. So you know what's best for you. And we've got to be at a place of honesty. And then it's self-advocacy. Self-advocacy says, I'm going to speak up for myself. I'm going to ask for what I need, or I'm going to get it. And this is where everything Deborah shared ties in. What do you need? The reality is that no man is an island. Humans are relational beings. That's why this pandemic has been so hard for so many people. We were made to connect. But yet, when it comes to our studies, we want to operate in a silo. Advisors are present for a reason. Your professor's there for a reason. Your student affairs, student success areas, they exist for a reason. What type of support do you need? And will you speak up to get it? I'm very, there's a sense of urgency for me for college students, regardless of the age, because for me, my first, I'd say, depressive episode, psychotic break happened when I was in college. Oh my God, I'm from the Virgin Islands. I went to school in Pittsburgh, some thousands of miles away from home. I was a top banana in my high school, and now I'm on a campus with 10,000 other top bananas. What is that about? There is a cultural difference being raised on an island. There is in a new city, a new state, there's new rules and laws and coursework and friends and just life. And that was the first time that I just checked out. Now, fast forward, I have the awareness today that there are ways that I could have been a better self-advocate. But I'm hoping that for everyone who's going to view this, you don't have to wait 5, 10, 15, 20 plus years. On day one, with the students that I've worked with, day one of your course, you connect with your professor. I can't ask you for something when there's no relationship. I can't walk down the street and say, hey, can you give me $100? You're going to look at me crazy. But if I have a relationship with you, if I let you know my shortcomings, my challenges, if I let you know on day one, I am a mom, I've got 3 kids under 7, I'm also working, and I need to complete this degree by December. There is a relationship that's being built and fostered. Same thing with accommodations and modifications. On day one, what do you need? Do you need a longer test taking time? Do you need more time to turn in your assignment? We are responsible for building our tribe. That's what self-advocacy is all about. And your tribe is your advisor, your professors, friends, family, your faith organizations, your social groups. That's the way that you insulate yourself and you ensure that you're able to stay the course. Because here's the reality of it. I am not always motivated and inspired. I'm not. There are some days where I'm like, why am I even doing this? What's the point? No one's getting it. Sometimes I feel like what I do is such a thankless job. And on those days when my goal gauges are nearing empty, and my gas light is on, that's when I can tap into someone else. That's when I can get on the lifeline on Thursday mornings. That's when I call my best friend. That's when I can go to a support group. That's when I just take a nap because I've got the self-awareness in place. I'm being honest about what I need, and I'm either going to go get it or I'm going to ask for it. The days of proving how strong you are, those are over. We were taught wrong. You don't have to do it alone. You don't have to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. Community means that we are each contributing to a greater whole. And you don't have to be the whole of a small part. You can be a part of a small whole, recognizing that there's no way any of us can be strong 100% of the time. There's absolutely no way. And to even continue to prefer that as an expectation is injurious. So what do I leave you with? Mental health is health. There's a NAMI affiliate near you. Please connect. And I'm always happy to connect with you and to link you with any resources that I have. But you're not an island. You're not intended to go at life or your coursework alone. So please do connect. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha. Awesome. That was an awesome presentation. If you look over in the chat, there are some questions for you. So I just want you to kind of go over them and think about how you may answer them. I think I had a couple, and then Wayne Brown, I see that he has a couple. And so we're going to move on to Rod, and you manage your time. Both of you have managed your time perfectly. It's been awesome. And so we have Rod, and Rod had to make sure that the last speaker in our meeting earlier today kept his time. So Rod, no, but anyway, so Rod Cunningham, we want you to talk to us, and we know that you have something that's going to be encouraging to us.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me. Truly appreciate it. Again, my name is Rod Cunningham, retired Air Force, 29 years. I now am the opioid prevention expert for the state of Florida, hired on by the Drug Enforcement Administration, the DEA. As well, I have authored 2 books on emotional wellness for youth. My books are being used in Pinellas County Schools, as well as Pasco County School District and Hillsborough County School District. And so, yeah, that's me. So here's what my presentation is all about. If you take a 13-year-old boy and he witnessed his father striking his mother, we call that trauma. If you take a 13-year-old girl who was touched inappropriately by her uncle, we call that trauma. If neither one of them ever deal with their trauma, what kind of decisions will they make in their 20s and 30s? What do you think?
Not good.
Not good decisions, right? Maybe they're in and out of careers. Maybe they're in and out of relationships. Maybe they just can't get right. But all of a sudden, at the age of 45, when they walk into a room, a light follows them in a room and everybody goes, oh my gosh, you're different. What did you do? You did something. And they go, I don't know. No, you did something. It took them 32 years to stumble across the 5 steps to emotional wellness. What if someone wrote a book, a workbook, to teach the 13-year-olds as soon as they're traumatized, they embrace all of those 5 steps by the age of 14, how different will their decision-making be in their 20s, 30s, and beyond? And so that's what my presentation is about. So I got about 10 more minutes to give that presentation.
Take your time.
12 more minutes to give that presentation. So do I have the right to share my screen, sir?
You sure do.
Okay, awesome. So the title of my presentation, can you see my screen?
I see it.
So the title of my presentation is It's Okay Not to Be Okay. So first of all, I want you to think about, what do we have in common with one another? What do you have in common with others on this call? Many times when we look for something in common, we look for something physical or financial, or you're tall, I'm short, you're black, I'm white kind of thing. But what I found is that we need to look at people in a way to find out what we have in common at the heart level, because all of that other stuff is just external. Let's talk about the heart, because that's what we truly have in common. We deal with things very similarly and we hurt the same. And so what I want everybody on the call to do right now is to raise your hand. If you're on this call, please raise your hand. And so, and now I want you to lower your hand because I'm going to throw 4 rocks. And if these 4 rocks hit you, I want you to lower your hand. So in the meanwhile, everybody's hand should be up. And if this rock hits you, I want you to lower your hand and keep your hand down. The first rock, drop your hand if your biological parents were separated or divorced at any time in your life, or they were never married. Lower your hand. Okay. And so that means that everybody whose hand is still up, their parents are still together till death do us part. The second question, actually, this is what parental abandonment looks like. Okay. And so my second rock, actually, I'm going to recycle the first rock. If you have not heard, I love you unconditionally, and I'm proud of you from both of your biological parents, go ahead and lower your hand if you haven't heard that in the last 30 days. Okay, so we still have a few hands that's still up. Okay, these are some loved people. Good, good. This is what parental abandonment looked like. Now, here's my second rock. All right, my second rock is drop your hand if someone passed away who you truly love in the last 10 years, or you have a parent with terminal illness. Drop your hands. How many hands on this call are still up? Because I can't see everybody. How many hands are still up?
I don't see any.
Okay, so, all right, so we all now on this call, we all have a mental health issue because we have a heartbreak that we're dealing with, and we're dealing with it in our own way. But I'm here to tell you that you have to pay attention if you've been hit by any of those 2 rocks. You got to pay attention to your mental health and your relationships. So I'm going to move forward and show you what that grief looks like, or that loss. Okay, with this gentleman here, where does that pain go? What does that pain? He buried his wife, and his son is behind him. Where after the funeral, will that pain just go away in 30 days, 6 months, 5 years? Where does that pain go? Does it go to the casino? Does it go to the bar? Does it go to work and they're angry and knocking people out at work and cursing people out? Where does that anger go? Rock number 3, if your hands were still up, would be called trauma. So if you've ever witnessed physical abuse of your parent or sibling, you've experienced personal violence, or you were ever touched inappropriately, that would be rock number 3. Again, these are the things that break our hearts. And if you ever wonder what's wrong with that boy, what's wrong with that girl, I want you to remember these 4 rocks that I'm throwing. And that's 3 rocks there. But this is what trauma looks like, especially to a child. This is what trauma looks like. And the 4th rock I'm going to throw is rejection. Drop your hand if you were ever bullied, whether on social media or in person, whether you were constantly ridiculed, picked on by a sibling. You're stupid, you're garbage. We found you in the garbage can. You're not a part of our family, right? All of that kind of stuff sticks with us, right? If you were part of a bad breakup of a friendship, or a romantic relationship, we all remember the very first time someone broke our heart. We can probably still remember their phone number, and you're 60 years old, right? So some of those things really stick with us. The things that, unfortunately, things that happen to us, especially up to age 14, it just seemed like it stays with us in our 70s, 80s, and 90s. Those things stick with us, again, if we don't do something about it. This is what rejection looks like. This is what rejection looks like. So here are the 4 areas that cause emotional pain or emotional decline that I just went over: parental abandonment, loss of a loved one, trauma, and rejection. Okay. And the message that I have here is unresolved. Any of these areas can lead to a lifetime of high stress, anger, sadness, isolation, anxiety, or depression. So the big domino here is high stress. When we're highly stressed, what kind of decisions do we find that we make? You can see that we make negative, poor, or irrational decisions when we're highly stressed. So what do you do when you're highly stressed? So I always like to ask students that. And here's what students tell me. They yell, scream, and curse, drink alcohol, they hit people, they go to the club or casino, smoke marijuana or cigarettes, go shopping, gossip, listen to music, especially explicit music, play video games, go to sleep, they cry or isolate themselves, they call and hang out with their friends, and so forth. But the idea here is that low stress equals positive, good, or rational decisions. So what we have to do here is lower our stress as soon as possible, because if we stay in a high level of stress, then we'll continually make bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. So we have to lower that stress, and we have to do it very quickly. And we do that by shifting our mind. It's a mindset, because this is really how we all want to feel most of the time, a feeling of exhilaration. One good idea or one good decision can change your life forever. And this is my youngest grandson. He's like, Pops, I got a good idea. So there are 3 positive ways to temporarily interrupt negative thoughts. And these are just a few, okay? We can do breathing exercises, pattern interruptions, and as well as we can go out and do a 20-minute run. But there are 5 consistent steps to emotional wellness. And this is all based on, these 5 consistent steps. So step number 1, it will be spirituality. Spirituality is the quality of being concerned with the human spirit or soul as opposed to material or physical things. We must return to the center of who we are, that is good. Now, there's a difference between spirituality and religion. So spirituality is that one-on-one relationship with your God. And this is what spirituality looks like. So for the sake of time, I'm going to move on to step number 2, which is forgiveness. We all must forgive everyone who's ever hurt us in our entire lives. Because if we continue to hold on to unforgiveness, it's going to cause us to be triggered, many, many times. And so someone says, well, how do you know when you've forgiven? Because I was always told that I can forgive, but I don't have to forget. No, you don't have to forget. But if remembering the pain of someone hurting you, if that causes you to express a new emotion or another emotion, then you haven't forgiven them. I'm going to say that again. If you think about the person that hurt you, and you feel an emotion of anger, sadness, anxiety, or any of those things, then you have not forgiven that person. And that's what forgiveness looks like. Okay, step number three is going to be counseling. For some reason, my slide doesn't want to go down. Okay, here we go, counseling. We can't continue to hold things inside. We need to be able to get it out. So it's important for us to get out all the things that are inside of us. Okay, they say pressure make a pipe burst. And so if you keep all of that in, at some point, you're going to burst. You're going to go off on an instructor. You're going to go off on a friend. You're going to just blow up on somebody, or you're going to have road rage because you've been holding all these things in. And counseling helps us get it out. So counseling is not a one-off solution. These are 20% solutions. So don't go to counseling and think, okay, I've been to counseling. I'm good. I'm good to go. No, that's not the case. There's some other things, other work we have to do. And then step number 4 is journaling or art. Okay, write that book, write a poem, write a movie, write a song, do some art, do some painting that represents your life, the things that you've gone through, the strength that you've developed through those things. And then number 5 is purpose. Purpose has nothing to do with you, but everything to do with why is someone else's life better because you lived. So we know out there that there are some young people in our communities who can't read. And if they don't pass that FCAT by 3rd grade, they're going to build a prison bed for those children. Those principals would love for you to come in and say, hey, I love to mentor a young 3rd grader who's having a hard time passing or reading. When these kids are in their communities, they don't know if their light's going to be turned off or turned on. The boyfriend is always beating mom, all this stuff. And now you're asking them to learn to read at 5 and 6 and 7 years old. They're worried about their life. So you as a mentor can come in and really show your purpose. So with that, I'm going to show you the 5 steps here in this diagram. Okay, so step 1 is spirituality and forgiveness, counseling, journaling, and purpose. And so what happens here is when you put the 2 concepts together, the model together, this is basically telling you that if your parents divorce, you should take action and do all 5 steps. And so now you feel much better. You've gone through counseling, forgiveness, spirituality, so on and so forth. All of a sudden, your best friend gets killed in a car accident 5 years later. You go through all 5 steps again. Next, 10 years later, you get into a car accident, and now you're traumatized with the car accident. Go through all 5 steps again. And then 10 years later, you get a divorce. You go through all 5 steps again. So if you experience at least 4 of these areas, then you should have 4 books written or something similar. All right, so just keep that process going, and that should keep you nice and healthy. Any questions? I guess we'll open questions up for the whole team, but thank you very much for having me.
All right. Thank you, Rob. We appreciate that. If you look over there, I know I wrote a couple, and I think there may be some others in there for you. And, especially Bryce, I hope you're thinking about some questions you'd love to ask as well. In here, it's look like the majority of us are mentoring and mentoring students. And we have, I see Bryce came in who is actually being mentored as a student. And what I'm going to do is, first of all, go to the first questions that were asked to Debbie. And I think if I could find it, here it is. Debbie, it was the question that I wrote is, do you think that the minority male students interact with advising as often as they should? And then what can faculty members do to assist that particular process? Is Debbie? It looks like she may have clocked out there. All right, well, let me, so I'll come back. Oh, there, you're there. Okay.
Okay. I think a faculty member can direct a student to see a particular advisor. I've had that happen several times. If they find that a student is struggling and they feel that they can connect with a certain advisor, I have gotten emails from instructors, please, I want you to talk to so-and-so. They give me a little background and I bring the student in. And so far as students, male students of color coming in on their own, it's kind of like a hit and miss because, again, as I stated, they have to come to us at least one time. Whether or not they feel comfortable to come back, part of that is how we do our job and making them feel comfortable, showing them a level of trust and letting them know that we care. So if you have a student coming into an advisor, any particular advisor, and it's like, okay, da 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 da, and all right, you're good to go. I like to be personable with my students because if I feel I can find out a little bit about them, it will help me better serve how to advise them, and they can see that I care because I'm asking questions, and I'm asking questions, sometimes personal questions, so I can know how to help them. I may ask, hey, do you work? What kind of work do you do? Do you live at home? All of this is for a purpose so I can advise the student accordingly. So again, the teacher can also reach out to an advisor, even though I may not be their assigned advisor. The student can request to switch to another advisor if they're more comfortable. So you're not locked down. And we have to have a certain degree of care when we are talking to our students. If they feel comfortable, then they'll open up.
Okay, that's great. You know what? I sent a little text to Bryce just a minute ago. Bryce, I'm just wondering what has been your experience with student services at advising? Has it been a pretty positive experience?
Yes, sir, it has. I don't know actually which, I forgot her name, but we made like a personal relationship where she would email and see how's class going. And it really helped, like, just to feel like somebody actually does care about, us, whatever.
That's good. That's good. That's awesome. I think they have an awesome team, and evidently they're doing a good job there. I have another, let's see, I think Wayne had some, let's see, Wayne wrote, wait a minute, Dr. Campos. Let's see, the effects of the pandemic will linger for the next couple of years. So it's not something, it was more of a comment. But, I'm sorry, I'm at the end instead of, I know Wayne had one comment. He said, advising is so important as it pertains to MMI and directing the men to the MMI faculty leads. And how have you guys been doing in that? Have you been helping? In other words, even Bryce, he's on here. I'm wondering, how are you guys directing them to this program any, or, what are you guys doing there? And Deb, and I guess I'm thinking this is to you, Debbie.
And can I jump in just for a quick second? Because
Sure.
You guys are phenomenal. I have 100 questions for each of you. But Debbie, in reference to advising, I work with Jacqueline Portier on the Cocoa campus, and she's been so helpful in directing students to me on the Cocoa campus for the Minority Male Initiative. And what you indicated was so important in terms of building that relationship. What I hope happens is, as far as advising, because you're kind of in the front line, that every advisor understands the intent in terms of the Minority Male Initiative, and hopefully can have and build a relationship with these young men. I mean, all advisors, right? You know, across the board. So I do attend on the Cocoa campus advisement meetings, and I sit down with them for a few minutes and then talk to them about MMI and what their needs are, what their concerns, how they can introduce and guide these young men, because you guys are on the front line. And then from that point, then it's kind of on us to establish those relationships. So I appreciate what you guys are doing. I think you're in Palm Bay, and also, on the Cocoa campus as well. But that message has to go across every single advisor, not just advisors of color. And that's why I attend their meetings, because I want to talk to all of them. Because they interact with our students, our men of color. So I appreciate your efforts with that.
To that point, I think what's really important when it comes to targeting young men and targeting really any demographic, we're going to have to model the behavior that we want to see. And the reason for that is embedded in Black, African, Afro-Caribbean, Afro-Latino, Afro-American, embedded in our culture is the mindset that we have to do it alone. We've got to be strong, we got to handle it, we got to toughen up. And so we're going to have to model what support looks like, model what community looks like, and really make it safe for people to come and ask for help. And sometimes, until it gets comfortable and second nature for us, it may require a greater outreach to students and some marketing of what services are available. Because I don't know if I need your help if I don't know what help you can provide. And typically, I know for me, when I went to school, it's like, okay, give me my schedule. I've got it. If I have problems or need to drop a class or something, I'll come back. But there's so many services that are available to students now on college and university campuses that we may need to do a little bit more to let them know what's available.
I think that's important. I don't, because as I'm listening to you and I'm listening to Rod as well, as you know, the whole issue in terms of reaching out and counseling for folks of color, doesn't happen because young men are weak, and it just doesn't happen, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's where I'm at, where we have to do more, right? It's great to list resources, but there's somehow to devise a way to connect these young men so they feel safe and they're not weak, right? Having strength is wanting to do better, and that's what I work to try and convince these young men to want to do better for the people you love and the people who you will love. And so that's my message. And do I need the help and support from you guys? Absolutely. Obviously don't have all the answers, but we got to break that ceiling, if you would, because that whole stigmatization of counseling is embedded in who we are. I've been that way until, maybe as my older years, got more gray hairs or what have you. But it's so important, and that's why, just feedback from you guys, how we can make it happen. It's so important moving forward, especially under the climate we live in,
So Roderick had his hand up.
So on that, if we want our young people to go to counseling, we got to go to counseling, because everybody put their hand down, right? So that means we all should have been in some kind of counseling situation at some point when we lost our favorite uncle, when mom or dad passed away or divorced, or, when we ran into these situations, we got our own divorce, or whatever that situation may have been. And it doesn't have to be this catastrophic thing, but we all need counseling, because especially today in the pandemic, right? All of these things start coming down on us. And so we have to go, and then we have to be transparent about it. I'm a 100% disabled veteran. So I get counseling for free through the VA. Every Monday, my wife and I sit with the counselor, the therapist, and we just talk. We talk about the things that are going on with us. And I'm very transparent about that. All my kids know that we're in counseling, right? Not because anything's wrong, but because we want to make everything right. Right. So that's something that's very powerful. And we got to open up about it. We can't wait. Those days of keeping your mouth closed and, don't tell nobody your business. What goes on in the house stays in the house. Baby, don't go out there telling nobody your business now. We were all taught that. We gotta let that go. I get it. People don't want to go to counseling because, especially Black people, because I don't want society telling me there's another thing wrong with me. They already say my color's wrong. They already say my attitude's wrong. They already say this is wrong. Now you're gonna tell me I'm crazy too? I get it, but we gotta go. Go ahead.
And to your point, Rod, we also have to be open and willing to redefine how therapy and counseling looks. So last week with the University of South Florida Black Student Union, we held a bonnets and blues and then do-rags and discontent conversation, one for the ladies, one for the men. And for all of the young women, it was myself, 2 other clinicians, we all had our head wraps on, our scarves, or our bonnets, because we're leveling the playing field. But we're having counseling. We're having group therapy. That's basically what it was. But we were in pajamas and bonnets. And so what's the difference between a group counseling session and what takes place in a barbershop?
Wow. You know
Nothing.
what? I have a question for you. I mean, here's the natural response is, I mean, where do we find the time? Here it is, we're in pandemic situations. It seems like we work more. It's like I spend from the time I get up to the time I go to sleep on this computer. And so, where do we find time? We
have time. You know how I know? We make time for what we want to make time for. This is my 6th Zoom Microsoft Teams session for today. I've been going back to back to back. You know why I'm doing it? Because I love it. I'm doing what I'm doing now. Have I had calls in between? And I look at the phone and I'm not making time for that. We make time for what we want to make time for. We make time for what we understand is valuable. We make time for what we know is going to fuel us. And so with everyone's in the pandemic. What do we now need to do? We have an opportunity to be creative. We have an opportunity to be for ingenuity, for shaking it up. Okay, Zoom didn't work. All right, let's do FaceTime. Okay, if the regular session didn't work, let's do coffee. Let's meet in the empty parking lot in the morning and we'll do a socially distanced walk. We have the opportunity to be creative in how we provide and obtain support. What we do not have the luxury of doing is tapping out and saying it's too hard, or saying, well, that didn't work, or this is how we always did, so we got to do it again. People are dying. The stats that I saw today shows that in October, suicide rates went up in my county, Baker Acts went up in my county, and I know that was directly related to the stress of the election. When you add to that the people that we're talking about, school age 10 to 34, suicide is the 2nd leading cause of death. For me, I don't have a choice. I have to be creative. You don't like bonnets and blues? All right, let's have coffee in the morning. You don't like that? Okay, let's meet at the hair salon. You don't like that? What else can we do? But we do not have the opportunity to say, our young men aren't reaching out. I'm going to put it on me to say, have I made it safe for them to reach out? Am I making it appealing? Have I conducted a needs assessment to know what it is that they want? Or am I just forcing what I want to give on them and hoping that they like it? That's where I am.
You make such a good point, Dr. J, and just to answer, not to answer your question, but maybe to sort of give an example. So what was I doing the last time you spoke to me prior to this meeting?
You were a blessing to me. You just don't know you were. But you've been it. You were actually jogging.
Right.
You were out jogging, but as you were jogging, you were communicating to me, and your venting was helping me. You just don't know it was. But and so I needed that communication, because I took another lesson that you were given while you were getting your exercise.
And believe me, I don't have it all together, but I know, when you say know your body, when I get filled up, I've got to go. And for me to go, I just run, throw some music on, and I go for an hour, hour and a half. And if I can work out the time frame, everyone's so busy. I know you can. And I'm glad you called me because I need you to be healthy. I need you to be strong. I need you to be in the game because you know what we're trying to do, and we kind of feed off each other. So your well-being is important to me in a big way. So just the fact that you called me at that time, helped. But you're absolutely. We don't have, as Tasha said, we really don't have a choice. We don't have the luxury of saying, oh, how do I make? I can't do this. That's out the door. People are dying. I mean, just one example. 2 nights ago, 3 blocks from here, 2 black young people were shot right here in Cocoa, right over there, right? This is ongoing. This is an ongoing deal. We got to build ourselves. We got to be strong. We got to keep pushing, figuring some things out, being creative, doing this if we're going to make any impact and hopefully keep these young men safe. So I just want to throw that in. So I appreciate those comments, Tasha. As it references what we need for ourselves to make this work.
Yes, Roger, before you go, Bryce, I sent him a question. I'm just kind of curious, Bryce, in view of all of the turmoil you see going on, he just mentioned the 2 young men being killed. You see the election.
Young man and a young woman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then you see the elections going on. You see the tensions between race, but yet you're trying to be a student in view of that. What do you believe some of the greatest challenges that you're facing? And you hear us talking about counseling and all that. I'm just kind of curious what your perspective is about what's going on right now in our world and how that's affecting you.
Speaking of the 2 young men that got shot, I played a football against one of them in high school. So pretty much it's kind of hard. I guess you're trying to go to school or whatever, do your work, but like you open up social media, bam, such and such passed away or such and such this. So it's like, wow, the people I grew up with, it's just leaving fast. And then pretty much you can't see people like you really want to because of COVID. So it's kind of just like, all right, I just have to tighten down, do schoolwork and just try to make it out.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it's rough. Natasha, I had asked, I'm sorry, Roger had his hand up. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, when it comes to young men in college, when a young man is smart and he's in high school, he's celebrated by his church, he's celebrated by his community, he's celebrated by his school because he's smart. All of a sudden, he leaves home and he falls on a college campus where everybody was celebrated. And he goes, who am I now? Where do I assimilate? That's why on large campuses, football players, they assimilate. They can go on to graduate. People in fraternities, they assimilate. They can go on to graduate. So the young people, freshmen, they have to assimilate very quickly so that they can have a group that they trust in and that they can go on and do great things. So we have to kind of let them know, pat them on the back, let them know that they're great. As men, I'm sorry, it's a man thing, I think. We want to be celebrated even before we've earned it.
Yeah,
I kind of noticed that, but that's another subject.
I'm a man. Dude, hey, girl, I'm a man. Well, what have you done? It don't matter. I'm a man, right?
Yeah, that's a bit of a climb there, because I wanted my young men to reach out to me as well. So you got to meet me halfway. I'm putting a lot of effort. And so do I get disappointed when they don't? Yeah, absolutely I do, because I know their needs. I'm just trying to figure out, how do I make myself more creative to reach them and provide that safe haven so they can. I've got some success stories, but not as much as I want, obviously.
So create your personal Zoom and have your men come on. Y'all, like she was saying, put your do-rag on, take your tie off, and throw on your Bucks jersey. Throw on your Bucks Brady jersey. And
I bought my son's do-rag.
Yeah. What?
Go ahead.
I want to go to Sal. I want to go to Sal for a second because Sal actually has stepped into a new role, but yet he was already connected. But yet, in the midst of all of this stuff that's going on, and I just wonder, how do you deal with those pressures of addressing that and having new responsibilities, knowing you're responsible to an administration that's looking at you, and but yet you might not be, have access to the interaction maybe you need. I don't know. Where are you right now?
I'm actually glad you were asking that question, Dr. Jackson, and I know that we are recording this for hopefully a lot of potential students and a lot of potential minority male cohort to look at it, and that shows our students that you are not the only one feeling that way. You see that we are dealing with it. We are going to counseling. We are dealing with losses, with emotional pain, with stress at work, with the stress about you. And in the meantime, it has to be a two-way street. So when we talk about counseling and somebody mentioned that we don't have the time, some of us maybe have the time, but we don't have the resources. Maybe it is not free for everyone. If I want to go to counseling, I am not blessed to be a VA, and I don't have that resource. And actually, when I needed to look into it for one reason or another, it was almost over $200 an hour. And I'm a teacher. I live on a teacher's salary, so I am very rich. I cannot afford that, right? So when we're feeling blue, sometimes we don't get that motivation and we are ready to give up. And that's exactly when you need to stop and redefine your existence. And look at that model that was in this presentation earlier in this video, the 5 steps. Maybe counseling will be hard to get right now, but counseling can be done just by talking to a friend, by reaching to a mentor. And that's why we are here. That's why we are recording this video. That's why we are having this meeting, to let you know that we are here. Sometimes I want you to listen to me. It's 2 ways. Maybe I'm your mentor, but I'm going to need you as much as you do need me. And that's how we support each other, and that's how we grow. And I was watching Damien John today in our speaking series, and this guy, we know how successful he is today, but the struggles that he had to go through and the money that he had to blow away because of his financial illiteracy and lack of education, pretty much to sum it up, he spoke for an hour and a half. And I can tell you this, the key of his success, that he started to find mentors. And once he was able to connect with those mentors, these mentors became his lawyer, his accountant, and everybody that he consults that made him the giant who he is today, the person that we look up for. And that could be you, and that could be me. No matter how much we struggle, we deal with losses, we deal with unfairness, we deal with microaggression, we deal with racism, we deal with jealousy every day. And us more than anybody else. Never feel it is okay, it is not okay, and it's okay to feel down about it, and it's okay to fight back, but the right way. That's
You know what? I think what you said was powerful, especially for Bryce. Here, Bryce is to be mentored, but here we're saying that we even need mentors. We even need mentors, and that's a powerful thing. We got a couple of more minutes. Actually, we've gone a little bit over, and so I see 2 hands up. Wayne, let's Roderick go first, and then Wayne, if you don't mind, just close it out for us, okay?
Absolutely.
All right. So, Rod.
No, I'm fine. I'll yield my time to Natasha. Go ahead.
Oh, Natasha. Okay.
So I put up this word here. It's one of my favorite words. It's Ubuntu. And it's a term that means we are inextricably linked, that there's nothing that can happen to you that doesn't affect me, and that there's nothing that happens to me that won't affect you. It is from that word that I work and I live and I engage. One of the things that I'm doing for USF, for their BSU, is I've called local clinicians, Black clinicians, to be able to provide discounted individual and group therapy for the students who are either, they don't have insurance because they're no longer on their parents' insurance, or they just don't have it. They're on a student's income, so they don't have the resources that, maybe an adult would. And so Ubuntu is community. It means you need therapy. Okay, I need therapy too. Who else needs therapy? Okay, so let's 6 of us get together. We'll all give $25. And now for that 1 hour, instead of the clinician getting a $50 payment or a $20 copay, they actually get $100 now for that same 1 hour. And we have a shared knowledge base. So until we get back to community, we're all going to suffer and be frustrated in our own individual lanes. We've got to share resources. There's only 8 hours in a day. My therapist, she's got 8 hours too. I want her, but I'd rather give it to some USF students. But what can I do? It could be me and 4 other people. We give her $100 for that hour. That way she's still compensated for her time and expertise, and we're getting the support that we need. How do we continue to keep our focus? We're going to have to pool our resources. We're going to have to stop being afraid of being weak or not knowing, or appearing like we're weak, appearing like we're not knowing. Someone asked about motivation. Yeah, every day I wake up, I'm like, is today the day that people want to judge me because I'm so public about the struggles that I have? I'm willing to deal with that if it means that Bryce and other college students and anyone who may watch this doesn't have to go through it. Ubuntu.
Excellent. Excellent. So in terms of sort of closing out, I don't think this will ever close out, and hopefully not. So, what I gather from this is there's so many folks who are sort of like-minded as I am in terms of these issues and concerns. How do we pull it all? Right now, I know there's academic issues and so on, but I really think the whole scenario in terms of wellness is something that we really have to sort of get a handle on and help support these young men. Dr. J, if you remember the survey that we had come back to us, several young men said anxiety, depression, nervous. I mean, I was even hopeful the fact that they even put that down, because typically that sort of gets thrown away, right? So we have to focus on it and continue to reach out, continue to be effective and creative. I text my guys every once in a while on a Friday just to see, oh, are you okay? That's it. I don't care what you're doing. That's your business. I'm just checking in. And if I figured if you answer me back, at least you're alive. All right. So, we just got to figure this out. So I appreciate the efforts of all you guys. I have great respect for all you guys and your expertise. How do we make it an action item? How do we sort of filter into the lives of these young men that we want to support and help? I'll just kind of leave it at that. And again, thank you for all your support. We'll keep this conversation going. Yes, sir, Sal?
My computer, for some reason, wouldn't allow me to raise my hand, so I do apologize.
I saw your hand. I can't hear you too good.
It was Roger. Roger had his hand up.
Oh, okay.
No, I can't hear him.
I apologize because my computer doesn't allow me to raise my hand for whatever technical difficulty, and I have to speak through this.
It's all good, man.
Making it work, but it's just I was trying to comment on what Professor Brown said, that if you are watching this video and you are part of MMI cohort, or you're trying to be one, let us know. Just email us or write on Canvas. That's why we're here. How can we be better? What is it that you're looking for? How can we communicate better? Especially, sometimes we can't be one-on-one. I'd rather be sitting down face-to-face with you right now, but I can't. What help do you need? And if it's too personal, we ensure confidentiality. We can get on a private line and we can talk one-on-one. Our conversation would not be disclosed to anyone else. If you want to discuss something personal or an issue that you don't know how to handle, that maybe I can guide you. If I don't have the solution, I can try to find it, or at least give you the direction where to go. So please reach out, just talk to us help you. That's all what we're looking for.
Awesome. Well, can we had Debbie, we had Natasha and Roger. Can we give them a round of applause?
Thank you.
Hey, thank you guys. We really appreciate it. And You know what? It's interesting, man. Bryce, you got the cream of the crop. He actually was able to get a lot of personalized attention, and I think that that was good. We appreciate you being a part of it, and we're looking forward to this next one. But Bryce, anything that you would like to share and see us to do even more, please communicate that. And then those who watch this, there are going to be others that watch this just as um, uh, Sal has mentioned. And so we want you guys to definitely communicate with us because we're here to serve you. That's really what we're here to do. We're here to serve you. Any other comments before we close out of here? Sal.
Rod, can you please email us the PowerPoint if
Yes.
it's possible, so we can share it with some of our students if you're able to?
Okay. I guess if he can,
I will consider it. I do charge for my services, and so this is part of my package. So I will consider it.
okay. All right. If he does,
So that's Rod, all we can ask.
and we'll see how that goes. But anyway.
But Dr. Jackson has the video that I did, the full 1 hour video that I did on YouTube. He has that link.
That's right. I can actually connect you guys with the link of this whole presentation. He
Well,
did
it is-
that BBC.
It is included in this recording. I just so we just wouldn't hurt to ask. That's all.
Okay. No, but you'd love to see the interaction at Black Brown and College Brown. He really did an awesome job of that. And so I watched the whole presentation and really had good interactivity with the students. We have to end. This good things have to, what's the statement that they say? Must come to an end. All good things must come to an end. I think that's it. And so we appreciate you guys. Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, Roderick.
Thank you, Natasha, Rod,
Listen us.
everyone be safe.
I feel full. You guys have a good one.
All right.
All right.